Welcome, my food and mood friend, Chandra Zas. We're gonna get into, if we're gonna hang out right for this video. So we're gonna get into a personal story of mine about being a celiac and finding the truth in that food is really our medicine.
Welcome! Here is your hostess and coach, Chandra Zas, helping people make food and mood changes doable without missing out. Go ahead, high five that like button, subscribe and share while you're there.
I have celiac. I was diagnosed when I was 2 years old, and I have struggled with the battles and the food, and for the first over 20 years of my life, I would even say 25 years of my life. And I have this story that's popping to my mind. When I lived in Israel about 6 years ago, I met this girl on the street, and she was also a celiac. And she was one of the first people, so the disclaimer here is that I have not really been a part of any kind of celiac groups, or I've been really a lone wolf in my celiac journey. I've done a lot of my own experimentation and solving it. Maybe it would have been better for me to reach out and connect with the people, but it's just not something I did. But this one girl in particular, I don't even remember where we met, but we sat on a park bench and we shared experiences of what eating gluten is like for a celiac. She obviously also had celiac. And it was really it was this interesting experience where it really validated how hard and crappy it is. And even my family, they still kind of struggle with really understanding what's the big deal. So I'm going to open up a lot of topics here today in this video. So being a celiac, for those of you that don't know, it's an autoimmune disease, which basically means, this is the way the layman's terms, the way I like to describe it, is that when celiacs like me eat gluten, our bodies think that it's a foreign invader. And so our immune system actually goes to attack our own cells of our body. So there's an autoimmune response, and it's really I've heard some people describe it as an improper working immune system, or a confused immune system, or an overactive immune system. Whichever way you want to describe it, it's a really rather not pleasurable experience.
Hello, my friend. How are you? I'm in the Dead Sea, floating in the water. Go ahead and like and share and follow so we can keep in touch.
I actually have, probably because of a lot of the work that I've done in my life and on my gut and with my body, I would say that I actually have more on the milder side of a celiac reaction. Some celiacs, they cannot eat in a kitchen if there was ever gluten in that kitchen. I'm personally not that sensitive. I definitely will not eat, if a plate has had breadcrumbs on them, I will not eat from that plate. But I will eat from the same kitchen, and I will eat even if there's bread on the table. But I'm pretty careful, because here's the thing, what happens when I eat gluten is I feel like I'm gonna die. I notice, and this is one of the things that I talked with the girl in the street in Israel, in Tel Aviv, is that I have thoughts of death. I've come to realize that it's a physiological, the cells of my body are under attack, and I get really depressed for at least 5 days. I have this crazy brain fog. I can't really think very clearly. I get really depressed. I feel like it's physiologically, physically, mentally, emotionally, depressed. The world starts to feel really gray. I feel really heavy. My body feels really heavy. I feel my lymph system swell up. I happen to have a really sensitive connection to my body, so I know I feel more things than most people, but I literally feel my lymph system swell. And it takes a good week to get over it. So it's really brutal. And one of the big things is really giving up gluten, and really knowing all of the places that gluten can hide, and really using food as a medicine. And I think that in some ways, of all the autoimmune diseases, celiac is one of the easiest. Well, you can skin it a few different ways, but one of the easiest because it is so food-based. I mean, it's also one of the hardest because food is one of the most emotionally wrapped up, culturally, socially wrapped up food. So for some people, it's like, even I know there are many celiacs out there who struggle to not eat gluten because they have the emotional connection and the family connection and the social connection. So they're eating gluten anyway and suffering a lot of the consequences. So if you're celiac, like, I want to offer you the mindset and the perspective that food really is our medicine, like really doing whatever you can to completely eliminate gluten out of your diet and really treat food as the medicine that it is. You know, we have a lot of other connections and ways that we're wrapped up in food. We have a lot of emotions and a lot of social things that are wrapped up in food, which is a lot of what I work with my clients in my program, is like really cleaning up our relationship with food and getting to a place where like we're really using food as medicine and really eating to nourish our body, not just eating because we're upset or stressed or bored or whatever those reasons are, and really making the connections and focusing, like, how do I feel after this meal? One of the blessings of being a celiac is like you have pretty direct confirmation that like gluten is pretty not great for your body. Like eating gluten makes a celiac feel pretty bad. So sometimes it's an easy connection and there can be an interruption. Sometimes people still really struggle with it because the emotional connections to bread and gluten are so strong. And all that said, food really is our medicine, like really healing our gut with nourishing foods and really managing our emotions and managing our mind away from the foods that really feel good in the moment. Like bread is like one of the most feel good foods. Like sugar and bread are like the two biggest dopamine hit, biggest feel good foods. And when we're not feeling good in our life, when we're not feeling, I mean, even like as a celiac, like when you have gluten in your body, you're not feeling good. So you're wanting to feel good. So like it's so easy to turn towards bread, which is just such a crazy cycle because then you feel even worse. So interrupting this cycle and getting to a place where we're really treating food as the medicine that it is. Like food is meant to nourish our bodies and our brains and our bellies. So my journey of being a celiac has been, at first I really felt it was a curse, and now I really feel like it's a blessing. I know in general, like eating the amount of bread that we all eat culturally, which has been normalized, it's not really healthy for anyone. And for me, it's been easier. I feel very like justified in my mind of like turning down food. I mean, pulling out the celiac card is like one of the easiest ways for people to be like, for people who know, they're like, oh yeah, let's accommodate you however you need it. You know, restaurants are always asking me like, are you allergic to bread? Are you intolerant? And I'm like, I'm celiac. And they're like, oh, okay. Because, you know, gluten, I really, 20 years ago, when I started not eating gluten, I was 16 when I learned that I had celiac. My parents thought that I had grown out of it. So from about 4 or 5 till I was 15 or 16, I was eating gluten and feeling quite bad quite often. So when I stopped eating gluten myself, when I was around 15, 16, I started feeling like, wow, the world changed for me. Like I really saw how much food impacts how I felt. And then I got onto this crazy journey, which is really like become my passion and my calling, is like really treating food as medicine, which has taken me to so many beautiful places. So now I actually really feel that having an autoimmune disease and having celiac is actually like an amazing blessing for me. Like I get to go to some really cool places, like with food and with emotions and with up-leveling my health and really playing with it. I don't actually feel, I mean, technically, I guess sometimes I think about like if the world were falling apart and there was no other food besides bread, like I'd probably be pretty pretty out of luck. But that's like a really far worst case scenario. Let's see if that ever happens. I think it's so natural for all of us to kind of slightly wonder about those, you know, our brains are good at trying to protect us and teach us about what things to be scared of and what bad things might happen and protect us from those things. So yeah, if there was only bread able to be eaten, I might be in a hard moment, but probably isn't going to happen. And for all the other situations, I actually really come to believe that I'm better off having celiac. Actually, it's kind of crazy to say that and think that, but I really do feel that way. So that having gluten out of my life is pretty awesome. And really, I think one of the biggest things that I pick on bread about is that we all, like, our brains want bread. Like it's like immediate calories, big dopamine hit, like our brains want bread. But one of the biggest detriments to that, and I watch it with my little one, like if there's bread around, like that's all she wants to eat. She doesn't want to eat anything else besides bread. And I think all of us have this like part inside of us. And one of the big downfalls is that we don't eat the other nutrient dense food that we need. So when we're filling up on bread, it's like we're missing out on those really vital nutrients and vitamins that we need in our diet and in our gut and in our body and in our brain. So I like to focus on those foods and really believing and feeling that food is medicine. Have a beautiful day, a beautiful week. I'll see you soon. Thank you.